My name is Layla, and I died with tears in my eyes. I gave my heart, my smile, my whole life to one man, Kai. I trusted him, loved him, even when he lied, even when he left me hungry just to feed his new love. I said nothing. But on the day I was pushed off that cliff, I finally saw the truth. He never loved me. He used me and tossed me away like trash. But the gods gave me a second chance. And this time, I won't be the weak girl who begs for love. This time, I'll make him pay. I opened my eyes and gasped. Everything looked the same, but something was off. The mirror showed my face, younger, softer. I was 17 again. The year before everything went wrong. Before I married Kai, before he took everything from me, I looked at my hands. Smooth, untouched. I touched my heart. Still whole. I had been reborn. Tears fell, but not from sadness. Not anymore. This time, I would play smart. No more crying. No more begging. I would be the one who walks away. I would be the one who breaks him. Layla smiled for the first time in her second life. Kai didn't know it yet, but she was coming. Layla smiled for the first time in her second life. Kai didn't know it yet, but she was coming. She knew where he would be today. At the school gate, with his smooth smile and lying lips, waiting to fool another girl with his sweet words. And just like before, she would pass by him. But this time, it would be different. Layla, he called, eyes shining like always. She stopped. Not because she missed him, but because she remembered everything he would do. Hi, she said with a soft voice, but her eyes stayed cold. What do you want? Kai blinked, confused. The old Layla would have blushed. Smiled. Chased him. This new Layla? She just stared. You look different, he said, stepping closer. She laughed. It wasn't warm. Maybe I opened my eyes. He tried to charm her like before. Want to walk home together? She shook her head. I don't walk with strangers. His smile faded. That was her first move, to confuse him, to make him wonder. Because a man like Kai, he hates not being in control. Back at home, Layla opened her notebook and began writing, things to change. Don't fall in love with Kai. Stop being friends with Mia, the girl who betrayed me. Help Dad fix his business early. Make Mom proud this time. She circled one name in red ink, Mia. She was Leela's best friend once. But she stole Kai. Lied. Pretended to care while twisting the knife behind her back. In this life, Mia would never even get close. The next day, Layla entered the classroom early. She took a seat in the front, far from Kai, far from Mia. When Mia walked in and saw her, she smiled fake and wide. Layla, you're early. Layla smiled back. And you're late, as always. Mia blinked. It was a small thing, but enough to shake her. Layla could see it in her eyes. She was starting to break the chain of her old life. And it was only the beginning. As Layla walked home alone, a boy she barely remembered stopped his bike beside her. Hey, are you Layla? She looked up, surprised. He wasn't part of her old story. Not Kai. Not anyone she had noticed before. Yeah, why? I'm Theo, he said, offering a gentle smile. You helped me once, 2 years ago. You probably forgot. She hadn't. But she would remember now. Because maybe, just maybe, he was the twist fate had added this time. Layla looked at the boy standing in front of her. Theo. Tall. Quiet. A little shy. She had forgotten him in her last life. But now, her heart whispered, don't ignore him this time. You remembered me? He asked. Layla nodded slowly. You dropped your books. I helped you. That was a long time ago. Theo smiled, almost surprised. Yeah, people don't usually remember small things like that. Layla looked at him closely. There was something calm about him. Something honest. A soft kind of strength. He didn't feel like a part of her old pain. Maybe he was someone new in her story. Or maybe someone who was always there, waiting. You walk this way? Theo asked, pointing down the road. Layla paused, then nodded. Yeah, let's walk. They walked in silence at first, but it wasn't awkward. It felt safe. The next morning, Layla arrived at school with Theo walking beside her. They didn't hold hands. They didn't talk much. But Kai noticed. His eyes locked on them the second they stepped through the school gates. He walked up fast, fake charm all over his face. Layla, you didn't answer my texts. She turned slowly, eyes calm. We're not close. Why would I? Theo raised an eyebrow, watching Kai with quiet interest. Kai's smile cracked. We used to hang out. Used to, she said clearly. Not anymore. Then she walked away, with Theo right beside her. That was the second move. Jealousy. The kind that burns slowly, deeply. Kai had always hated losing. Especially to someone like Theo, kind, quiet, real. Later that day, in the girls' bathroom, Mia cornered Layla. Her fake smile was back. You and Theo? That's sudden. Layla wiped her hands and turned. Why? Jealous? Mia laughed, but her eyes were sharp. Just surprised. He's not your type. No, Layla said softly. But he's not the type to steal someone's boyfriend either. Mia's smile froze. And just like that, Layla had thrown the first stone. Mia didn't know it yet, but her perfect mask was starting to crack. Mia stood frozen, her smile strained as Layla's words echoed in the air. In the past, Layla would have apologized, laughed nervously, or pretended it was a joke. But not this time. Layla dried her hands slowly and walked out, her head high. Behind her, Mia stared at the mirror, watching her own mask crack just a little. And the game had officially begun. That afternoon, Layla entered the school library to avoid the crowd. She didn't expect to find it busy or to meet two new faces that would soon matter more than she knew. At a corner table, two students sat whispering over books. One was a girl with short red hair and sharp eyes, the other, a tall boy with dark glasses and a chessboard between them. The girl looked up first. You're Layla, right? She asked, her voice direct. Layla paused. Yes? I'm Iris. And this is my cousin, Ren. You topped the literature quiz last week. Didn't think anyone could beat me, she smiled, but it wasn't unfriendly. It was. Intrigued. Ren raised his head slowly. You play chess? Layla shook her head. Not really. Then maybe you'd like to learn. You seem like someone who's playing a different kind of game anyway. Layla blinked. Something about Ren's words sent a chill down her spine. Was he just guessing? Or did he know more than he should? By the end of the week, Kai was unraveling. He watched Layla walk past him again and again, her eyes never stopping on him. He tried texts, gifts, casual jokes, but got nothing back. Even worse, Theo was always nearby. And now Iris and Ren had joined Layla's circle. People he didn't control. People he couldn't predict. He slammed his locker shut, furious. Mia appeared behind him. You look stressed. Kai didn't answer. Mia touched his arm. Maybe we pushed her too hard before. Maybe you should try being honest this time. Kai turned to her sharply. You think this is about honesty? Mia blinked. Isn't it? He didn't reply. Because the truth was, Kai had never been afraid of being hated. He was afraid of being forgotten. And somehow, Layla had made him feel invisible. After class, Iris walked beside Layla, her tone low. You're planning something, she said. And I don't care what it is. But if you're going after Kai, just remember he's not the only one with secrets. Layla looked at her calmly. Are you warning me? Iris gave a slight nod. No, I'm just saying. In games like this, the people you trust can break you faster than your enemies. And with that, she walked ahead, her red hair like fire in the sun. Layla didn't respond. Because in her last life, she trusted all the wrong people. This time, she would trust no one. Not even herself. The next morning, Layla opened her locker and found something unexpected. A small white envelope with no name. Inside was a single note. You're playing with fire. Are you ready to burn? No signature. No handwriting she recognized. Just a threat. Or maybe a challenge. She stared at it, fingers still, then slowly folded it and slid it into her pocket. Theo appeared beside her. Everything okay? Layla smiled calmly. It is now. But deep down, her mind was racing. Who sent the note? Mia? Kai? Iris? Or someone she hadn't even noticed yet? She would have to be even more careful now. Later that day, Theo asked if they could talk alone after school. They sat on the swings behind the old gym. I know you're hiding something, he said gently. Leela's breath caught. What do you mean? I mean, the way you look at people. Like you already know what they'll do next. Like you've seen everything before. She stayed quiet. I don't need to know your secrets, Layla, he said. But I want you to know this. I'm on your side. No matter what. Her heart thudded. Not in love, but in something deeper. Maybe trust. And trust was dangerous. She gave a soft nod. Thank you, Theo. But still, she said nothing about her past life. Some truths were better kept locked away. At the chess table that afternoon, Ren set the board but didn't look up. You received the note, didn't you? He asked softly. Leela's fingers froze. How do you know about that? Ren moved a piece. Because you're not the only one being watched. She narrowed her eyes. And what does that mean? Ren looked up, eyes darker than usual. It means the game's bigger than you think. Then he stood and walked away, leaving the board half played. Layla stared after him, her chest tight. She thought she was the only one playing. But now she knew someone else was moving pieces too. That night, Layla couldn't sleep. Ren's words kept echoing in her mind. You're not the only one being watched. She sat up in bed, pulled out the note again, and read it under the moonlight. Her fingers traced the paper edges. She knew this wasn't just about Kai anymore. Something deeper was happening. Then, a soft knock on her window. Leela's heart jumped. She opened the curtain slowly and froze. Outside stood Iris, her red hair tied back, face serious. Layla unlocked the window. What are you doing here? I couldn't sleep either, Iris said, climbing in without waiting. And I found something. She pulled out a phone and showed Layla a blurry photo. It was from a camera hidden near the lockers. The image showed someone slipping the note into Leela's locker. It wasn't Kai, it wasn't Mia. It wasn't Ren. It was a girl Layla didn't even know. A girl with black bangs and a shy face. A girl who'd always sat in the back row, quiet as a shadow. Her name is Ellen, Iris said. She never talks to anyone. Never causes trouble. Layla narrowed her eyes. Then why is she watching me? Iris looked just as confused. That's what we need to find out. The next day, Layla watched Ellen. The girl walked with her head down, always carrying the same book. She didn't speak in class. Didn't look at anyone. But once, just once, she glanced up. And when her eyes met Leela's, they weren't shy. They were sharp, knowing, cold. Layla felt a chill run through her body. Who was Ellen? Why was she watching her? And more importantly, what did she know? While Layla was busy tracking Ellen, someone else was busy tracking her. Kai sat with Mia in the courtyard, his eyes never leaving Layla and Theo across the yard. She's hiding something, he muttered. Mia rolled her eyes. She's just angry. No, Kai said, voice tight. She's changed. And not in a normal way. Mia gave him a strange look. What are you saying? Kai stood up, brushing his hands off. I'm saying I need to find out what she's hiding. Before it's too late. And with that, Kai made his move. A charm in his voice. A fake smile on his lips. He walked straight toward Theo. Theo stood beside the vending machine, quietly choosing a drink. Then he felt a shadow behind him. Hey, Kai said casually. You're Theo, right? Theo turned, calm as always. Yeah. And you're Kai. Kai smiled. I've heard about you. Smart guy. Quiet. The new friend in Leela's life. Theo didn't flinch. I am. Kai's smile widened, but his eyes stayed sharp. She used to be close to me. Real close. Just wanted to give you a little warning. Theo looked him in the eye. You mean a threat? Kai's smile dropped for half a second. Just a flicker. Then Theo stepped closer. I don't care who you were in her life. What matters is who she chooses now. Kai didn't answer. He just turned and walked away, but his fists were clenched tight. And from a distance, Layla had seen it all. After school, Layla met Iris and Ren in the library again. This time, they had more than just words. Ren laid out a sheet of paper on the table. On it were pictures and names, like a puzzle. At the center was Leela's name. Around her, Kai, Mia, Theo, Iris, Ren, and now Ellen. She's not just quiet, Iris said. She's dangerous. She's been watching you even before the note. Her teacher said she studies psychology. She knows how people think. Layla frowned. Then she knows I've changed. Ren nodded. And she's waiting. Waiting for what? Layla asked. For your next mistake, he said. The next day, during art class, Ellen finally spoke to Layla. She sat down beside her without asking. Her voice was soft, almost kind. You're not the same girl from before, Ellen said, mixing paint slowly. You wear your anger like a crown now. Layla didn't look at her. And you hide behind silence. Ellen smiled. You're trying to punish Kai, right? That made Layla freeze. Ellen dipped her brush again. Be careful. Revenge turns smart girls into sad stories. Layla turned to her. And what are you? The narrator of mine? Ellen's eyes glinted. No, just the girl who's seen it all before. Layla stared at Ellen. The girl's calm voice, her cold eyes, none of it made sense. How do you know what I'm doing? Layla asked. Ellen wiped her brush on a cloth, her hands steady. Because I've done it too. That answer hit harder than Layla expected. You've been reborn? Ellen smiled, slow and strange. Let's just say I've watched a lot of stories like yours. Some end in victory. Some in tears. Layla leaned in. And what do you want? Ellen shrugged. Nothing. I just enjoy watching smart girls learn who their real enemies are. Then she stood and walked away, leaving behind a perfect painting of a mirror. Layla didn't miss the message. Look at yourself. You're your own biggest threat. That evening, Kai messaged Layla. Kai, meet me at the rooftop after school tomorrow. Just 5 minutes. Please. Layla stared at the screen. Her fingers didn't move. In her past life, she would have run to him. Blind. Hopeful. But not now. Still. She replied, Layla, fine. She wasn't going because she cared. She was going because she wanted to see what kind of lie he'd try next. Theo, watching from across the room, frowned when he saw the look in her eyes. Be careful, he said. Layla nodded. Always. The wind blew strong on the school rooftop. Layla stood still, arms crossed, watching Kai pace. You came, he said. Say what you came to say. Kai looked troubled, genuinely, for once. I don't know what happened, he began. You're not like before. You're smarter. Colder. And I think I messed up. Layla raised an eyebrow. Think? Kai stepped closer. I never forgot you, Layla. I was just confused. Layla looked at him, eyes sharp as glass. And now you want me back? Kai nodded. She laughed. You don't miss me. You miss your control. Kai's face twisted. But before he could answer, a click was heard from behind a water tank. Layla turned fast, just in time to see someone hiding. Someone. Taking pictures. Layla's heart skipped, but her face stayed calm. She stepped away from Kai and slowly walked toward the noise. Her shoes echoed across the rooftop tiles. Behind the water tank, crouched low, was a figure dressed in a black hoodie. Come out, Layla said sharply. The person hesitated, then stood, camera in hand. It was a boy. Younger than her. Nervous. Pale. Why are you spying? She asked. I was paid to take pictures, he stammered. By who? He shook his head fast. I can't say. I promised. Kai marched over and yanked the camera. Delete everything. The boy grabbed the camera back. I already sent them. And then he ran. The next morning, whispers filled the halls. Layla stepped into class and felt every eye turn to her. She checked her phone. And there it was. A picture of her and Kai, alone on the rooftop, him leaning in, her face unreadable. The caption under it? Layla can't resist him after all. Leela's fingers curled around her phone. Her stomach twisted, but not from fear. From fury. Behind her, Mia giggled softly. Theo stood beside her, jaw tight. You didn't do anything wrong. I know, Layla said, her voice like ice. But they just made their biggest mistake. At lunch, Layla sat at her usual table with Theo, Iris, and Ren. I'm going to kill whoever spread this, Iris said, slamming her phone down. Ren, as usual, was calm. We don't need to kill anyone. We just need to trace the post. I already did, Iris said, eyes blazing. It came from an anonymous account. But the Wi-Fi connection was tracked to one person. She turned the phone toward Layla. On the screen was a name Layla knew too well. Mia Chen. Leela's lips curled into a cold smile. Perfect, she whispered. Let's begin her downfall. Leela's eyes stayed fixed on Mia's name glowing on the screen. She had known Mia would strike eventually, but this was faster than expected. She's trying to push me back into the old story, Layla said quietly. But I won't play the same role. Theo leaned forward. What's the plan? Iris grinned, already sensing the storm. We humiliate her. Ren tapped his pen against his notebook. We expose her. Publicly. Let her feel what it's like to be watched, judged, and burned. Layla nodded. But we'll do it smart. Clean. She won't even know the knife is in her back until it's too late. The next morning, Layla changed her game. She walked straight to Mia's desk and smiled. Hey, she said sweetly. You busy after school? Want to grab a drink? Just us. Mia blinked. Sure? Her smile returned, but it was nervous. Suspicious. Good. Layla leaned in and whispered. We haven't talked in a while. I miss it. Mia gave a tight nod. Yeah, me too. Layla turned and walked away, hiding the chill that ran through her body. Pretending to be friends with a snake wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Later that day, Iris slipped a hidden mic into Leela's bag. If she talks, Iris said, we'll have proof. At the cafe after school, Mia stirred her drink, not meeting Leela's eyes. You and Theo seem close, she said finally. Layla shrugged. He's nice. Honest. Unlike certain people. Mia laughed softly. You're still mad about Kai? Layla tilted her head. Should I be? Mia looked at her, then leaned closer. You know, the photo? I thought it'd make people talk. Make them think you're still stuck on him. Layla stayed still. Mia smiled wider. It worked, didn't it? You've always cared what people think. But this time, Layla just smiled back. You're right, she whispered. I used to care. And all the while, the mic recorded every word. That night, Layla, Iris, Theo, and Ren gathered in Ren's room, sitting around his laptop. Iris plugged in the recorder and clicked play. Mia's voice filled the room. You know, the photo? I thought it'd make people talk. Make them think you're still stuck on him. It worked, didn't it? You've always cared what people think. When the recording ended, no one spoke for a few seconds. Then Iris grinned. She buried herself. Ren nodded. Now it's just a matter of when. And how. Theo leaned back. What will you do with it? Leela's eyes gleamed. I'll let her think she's still winning. Then I'll take everything she cares about, her image, her pride, her precious lies. The next morning, posters appeared on the hallway walls. Watch who you trust. Underneath the words was a screenshot of Mia's confession, just the sentence, without names, but enough to stir curiosity and suspicion. By lunch, whispers flew. Did you see the poster? Who said that? Was it real? Is it about Layla? Or someone else? Mia's smile was forced now. Her eyes darted left and right. She found Layla in the hallway and grabbed her arm. What's going on? Layla turned, her face calm and empty. Maybe someone's finally tired of being quiet. Mia's hand dropped. For the first time, she looked scared. As Layla walked back to class, a quiet voice stopped her. "You've started a war," Ellen said, leaning against the stairwell. Layla glanced at her. "So? You think you're in control?" Ellen stepped closer. "But wars change people. They turn good girls into monsters." Layla met her gaze. "Then I guess I'm not afraid to be the monster." Ellen tilted her head like a cat watching its prey. "Interesting answer." She walked away, leaving behind a strange warning. "Be careful, Layla. Not all enemies show their faces. Some wear yours." Layla stood frozen. Was Ellen just watching? Or was she playing her own game? Ellen's words followed Layla all the way home. "Some enemies wear your face." She stared into the mirror in her room, watching her own reflection quietly. Was Ellen right? Was she becoming someone darker than she planned? Layla clenched her fists. No, this wasn't cruelty. It was justice. She wasn't breaking people for fun. She was breaking people who once broke her. Still, a part of her heart whispered, "And what if you become just like them?" That night, a message appeared on Layla's phone. No contact. No name. Just 4 words. "Remember what you lost." Attached was a photo. Layla's old life, her past life. A picture of her wedding with Kai. She wore a white dress. He smiled beside her. But now, she could only see the lies behind that smile. Her hands shook. Not from sadness, but from the sudden chill of memory. Who had sent that picture? How did someone else know about a life that no longer existed? She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Ren pulled Layla aside before class. "Something's not right," he said. "That picture you got. It wasn't just a threat. It was impossible." Layla looked at him carefully. "What do you mean?" Ren opened his sketchbook and pulled out something unexpected, a drawing of the same wedding photo. "I drew this 2 weeks ago," he said. "From a dream." Layla's heart stopped. "A dream?" she asked slowly. Ren nodded. "It felt real. Too real. Like I was watching something that already happened. Something I wasn't supposed to see." Layla's voice was quiet. "You dreamed of my past life?" Ren didn't blink. "No. I think I remembered it." Layla stared at Ren, her mind spinning. "You remembered my past life," she said slowly. "That's not possible." Ren shut the sketchbook. "Maybe not. But that drawing," he tapped it with 2 fingers, "it didn't come from imagination. I saw it. I felt it. And you were there." Layla sat down, her voice low. "What else do you remember?" Ren hesitated. "Pain. Betrayal. You standing in the rain. And Kai. Smiling as you fell." Layla's blood ran cold. Only she remembered that moment, falling from the cliff. But now, someone else had seen it too. Someone who shouldn't. Later that day, Layla found Theo sitting alone by the trees. She sat beside him, quiet for a moment. "Can I ask you something?" she said. Theo looked at her, soft as always. "Of course. Have you ever had a dream that felt too real? Like it already happened?" Theo paused. Then he nodded. "Once. It was strange. You were crying. Not like you do now. It was different, hopeless. And I couldn't reach you." Layla felt her throat tighten. More than one person was remembering her past. But how? Was something awakening in all of them? Layla found Ellen at the library window, staring at the sky. "You said you've seen stories like mine," Layla said. "That wasn't a metaphor, was it?" Ellen didn't answer right away. Then, "No, it wasn't." Layla stepped closer. "You've been reborn too." Ellen nodded once. "More than once." Layla's breath caught. "How many times?" "5, Ellen whispered. 5 lives. 5 stories. Some full of love. Some full of death. But one thing never changes. People make the same mistakes. Unless they break the cycle." Layla asked, "And what cycle am I in?" Ellen finally looked at her. Her voice was flat. The one where revenge destroys more than it saves. Layla stared at Ellen, her mind heavy. What happens, she asked, if I don't break the cycle? Ellen's eyes were cold. Then the ending repeats. You might win, but it won't feel like victory. Layla crossed her arms. So what? I'm supposed to forgive them? Ellen shrugged. Not forgive. Just don't lose yourself trying to hurt people who already lost you. That night, Layla walked home under the streetlights, her head full of thoughts. She had a plan. A perfect one. Mia would fall. Kai would crumble. But now, was the revenge worth the cost? Or was she already becoming the villain in her own story? The next morning, Mia went too far. She stood in the middle of the hallway, voice loud, phone in hand. I don't care what anyone says, she shouted. Lila's been chasing Kai behind Theo's back. Don't believe her fake smile. Gasps. Phones out. Whispers everywhere. Layla walked in, slowly, calmly, and faced her. She didn't say a word. Instead, Iris walked beside her. Ren opened his laptop, and Theo hit play on the classroom speaker. Mia's voice filled the room. The photo? I thought it'd make people talk. It worked, didn't it? Everyone stopped. Mia's smile vanished. She turned pale. Wait, Mia stammered. That's fake. You edited that. But no one believed her. One by one, students turned their backs. Her friends stepped away. Even Kai looked confused, unsure. I trusted you, someone whispered from the crowd. You played all of us, another said. Mia's hands shook. She looked around, eyes wild. And then she saw Layla. Still calm. Still watching. Mia screamed, tears filling her eyes, and ran out of the hallway. Layla didn't chase her. She just whispered, You never expected the quiet girl to be louder than you. But deep inside, her heart didn't feel light. It felt heavy. After Mia ran away, the hallway stayed quiet. Layla stood still in the middle of it, her heart thudding. People were whispering, yes, but not about her. Not anymore. The spotlight had moved, just like she planned. Iris gave her a little nod of victory. Theo gently touched her hand, grounding her in silence. But Layla couldn't smile. Because deep inside, something felt off. Heavy. She had won, but it didn't feel like winning. That afternoon, Kai didn't go to class. Layla found him on the old soccer field, sitting alone. His head was down. His fists were in the grass. When he saw her, he didn't speak for a long time. Finally, he whispered, I used to think I had everything. Layla didn't reply. Kai looked up. I don't even know who I am anymore. She stepped closer. Maybe it's time you stop pretending to be someone you're not. He nodded slowly, like her words hit deeper than expected. Do you hate me? Layla paused, then said, Not anymore. That night, Layla found a note slipped into her bedroom window. The cycle is changing, but someone is trying to keep it alive. Under the note was a single playing card, the Queen of Hearts. But the heart had a crack drawn through it in red ink. Leela's chest tightened. She rushed to her phone and called Ren. Did you leave something for me? No, Ren said. Why? I think someone's moving behind us. Someone we haven't seen yet. As she hung up, her eyes flicked to the corner of her room. Ellen's old mirror, the one she left behind last week, stood slightly cracked. And inside it, for just 1 second, Layla thought she saw her own reflection smiling back. But she wasn't smiling. Layla blinked. The reflection in the cracked mirror still wore her face, but the smile was wrong. Too wide. Too knowing. It vanished in a blink, but her chest stayed tight. She stepped back from the mirror, heart racing. What was that? She whispered. A trick of the light? But something deep inside said no. That wasn't light. That was a warning. She grabbed the Queen of Hearts card again, staring at the red crack through it. Someone wanted to remind her. A broken heart still holds power. And maybe that power didn't belong to her alone. The next morning, Theo waited for her at the gate, but his eyes looked different. Distant. Layla, he said, I need to talk to you. About something I remembered. She froze. You remembered something too? Theo nodded. Last night. A dream, but not a dream. It was like a memory. I was holding your hand. You were crying. And there was blood. Leela's breath caught. You were dying, Theo said, voice shaking. And I couldn't stop it. She looked away. She had died alone in her past life. No one had come for her. Not even him. But now, was fate letting him remember because he was meant to be there? Later that day, Ren rushed into the library, holding a phone in his hand. We have a problem. Layla, Iris, and Theo looked up. What happened? Layla asked. Ren placed his phone on the table. A new message had been sent to his inbox from an unknown email. You think you've won. But the real enemy hasn't played yet. Attached was a picture of them taken through the window of the library. Just minutes ago. Iris frowned. Someone's been watching us, again. Ren nodded. Not just watching. Tracking. Listening. Waiting. Leela's eyes narrowed. Who was it this time? Ellen? Or someone else, someone even she hadn't met in her past life. The picture on Ren's phone showed all four of them sitting around the library table, Layla, Theo, Iris, and Ren. It was taken from outside, but at the perfect angle, like the person knew exactly where they'd be. That photo was taken minutes ago, Ren said. The email was sent while I was walking in. Layla looked around. Someone's close. Watching us right now. Theo stepped toward the window and scanned the schoolyard. Iris moved fast, grabbing Ren's phone to check for tracking apps. Then, Leela's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You changed the past, but not the rules. Below the message, a photo of the cracked mirror. Leela's hands tightened. Her voice was calm, but firm. We need to find out who's behind this. That evening, Ellen showed up at Leela's house again. No warning. No knocking. I felt it, she said, stepping inside like she belonged. The shift. You triggered something. Layla didn't even ask how she knew. Ellen, she said carefully, who else has lived more than once? Ellen didn't answer right away. Her eyes were darker than usual. There are others, she said softly. But one of them isn't like us. They don't just remember. They rewrite. Layla blinked. Rewrite? Ellen nodded. They change details. Plant things. Twist people. Like setting traps in a dream. Layla whispered, Do you know who it is? Ellen looked at her, and for the first time, Layla saw fear in her eyes. Yes, she said. And they're already close to you. The next morning, Layla paid attention to everything, every whisper, every glance, every fake smile. Someone in her circle was not who they seemed. Someone was rewriting the game. At lunch, she caught Theo watching her with a distant look. At the lockers, Iris avoided her eyes for the first time. Even Ren was quieter than usual. Then, from behind her, a soft voice said, It's always the one you trust the most. Layla turned. No one was there. But on her locker door, written in faint black ink, were the words, You broke the cycle. But someone put it back together. Layla swallowed hard. Was she still ahead in this game? Or had she already fallen behind? Layla stared at the message on her locker door. You broke the cycle. But someone put it back together. Her fingers hovered above the words, heart thudding hard. Someone knew everything. Someone was rewriting the story behind her back. But who? That night, Layla met with Iris, Theo, and Ren in an empty classroom. She watched them carefully, each expression, each blink, each silence. I think one of us is lying, she said simply. The room froze. Ren narrowed his eyes. What are you saying? I'm saying, Layla said slowly, someone here knows more than they've told me. And it's time we find out who. I've had enough of this, Iris said suddenly, slamming her hand on the desk. First Mia, then creepy Ellen, now us? You think one of us is doing this? Layla kept her voice calm. I don't want to believe it. But the mirror, the messages, the photos? They're all too close. Iris stood, grabbing her bag. Then maybe I shouldn't be here. Ren looked between them, quiet as ever. Theo stepped forward. Wait, he said gently, eyes on Iris. Before you go, show us your phone. Everyone froze. Iris's face went pale. Excuse me? Iris clutched her phone tighter. You're serious? Yes, Theo said. We need to be sure. I've done everything to protect Layla, Iris snapped. Everything. And now you think I'm the traitor? Layla stood. If you're not hiding anything, Iris, just show us. The room felt like a held breath. Iris slowly placed her phone on the desk. Then she hesitated. I can't, she whispered. Theo took a step forward. Why not? She looked up, and there were tears in her eyes. But not the kind that begged for pity. They were sharp, angry, because if I do, everything I've hidden, even the good things, will come out. Layla stepped closer. What good things? And Iris finally said, things I did for you. Before you even knew you'd come back. Layla stared at Iris. What do you mean? She asked. Her voice was steady, but her fingers trembled slightly. Iris turned her eyes away. You weren't the only one who got a second chance, Layla. Theo froze. Ren's eyes widened. You were reborn too? Layla asked. Iris gave a small nod. Only once. But I remembered early. Before you. Before Kai started his games again. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small, red notebook worn at the edges. I wrote everything I remembered. Every mistake. Every lie I saw but ignored. And I promised myself I'd protect you this time. She placed the notebook on the desk. That's why I joined your side so fast. Why I hated Mia from the start. Layla reached for the book but stopped halfway. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Because, Iris said softly, I didn't want you to remember me as the girl who betrayed you first. Layla slowly picked up the notebook and opened the first page. There, in Iris's sharp handwriting, I lied to her. I kept her in the dark. I watched him choose her over me. And I said nothing, even when I knew it would kill her. Leela's chest tightened. You loved him, she said, looking up. Iris's eyes glistened. Not anymore. But once. Yes. I did. Ren leaned back, his voice dry. This story keeps getting deeper. Layla looked at Iris. So what now? You want forgiveness? I want you to know, Iris whispered, that this time I'm not standing behind anyone's shadow. I'm standing beside you. Later that night, Layla returned home with a notebook in her hands. Her room was quiet. The mirror in the corner was still cracked. She sat on her bed and stared at the pages, flipping through names, events, regrets. Then, a soft creak. She looked up. The mirror door, yes, the old wooden door behind the cracked mirror, was slightly open. But there was no door there before. Slowly, Layla stood. She stepped closer, heart racing, and peeked through. Behind the mirror, there was no wall. Just a hallway bathed in pale blue light. Silent. Empty. Endless. And something inside whispered, this is where all stories begin. And end. Layla stood at the edge of the open doorway, staring into the glowing hallway behind the cracked mirror. The air inside was still, but heavy, like it remembered things. Old things. Forgotten things. Taking a deep breath, she stepped in. The moment she did, the light changed. It pulsed once like a heartbeat and then settled into a steady glow. The hallway stretched far ahead, lined with doors, each one different in size, shape, and color. On one door, she saw her name carved in tiny letters. Leela, Life #1, below it, a second door. Leela, Life #2, and then a third, unmarked. Cold. Silent. Almost. Waiting. She reached for the handle. As soon as Layla touched the door, it opened soundlessly. Inside, she saw a room from her first life. Her wedding dress, stained with mud. The cliff where she fell. Kai's back as he walked away, not even turning once. Then, a voice behind her. You weren't supposed to come here yet. Layla spun around. A woman stood in the hallway. Dressed in silver gray. Her hair long, flowing like water. Her face was calm, but her eyes, they held lifetimes. Who are you? Layla asked. I'm the keeper, the woman said. And you're walking too far off the path. The path? Layla repeated. I didn't choose this. You remembered, the keeper interrupted. And that unlocked more than you understand. Layla narrowed her eyes. You mean the rebirth? The keeper nodded. Every life has a thread. You were meant to live only one. But someone changed that. Pulled you back. Leela's voice dropped. Who? The keeper looked at her closely. Someone who still owes you a debt. Someone who bent fate for you. And now, someone who must pay. Leela's mind raced. Could it be Kai? No, he was too selfish. Theo? No, too kind. Then who? The keeper stepped closer and whispered. You already know who. She's the one who gave you the mirror. Leela's breath caught in her throat. The mirror? She whispered. Ellen's mirror? The keeper nodded. It was more than a gift. It was a key. Layla shook her head. But she said she only watched. That she's seen stories like mine. She has, the keeper replied. Because she helped write them. Layla stepped back, heart pounding. Ellen's the one who brought me back? She didn't bring you back, the keeper said softly. She gave you a choice. But she didn't expect you to come this far. Layla looked down the glowing hallway, then back to the keeper. So what happens now? The keeper raised one hand and pointed to the third, unmarked door, the one with no carvings. That door leads to what comes next. But it is not written. Not yet. Layla stepped toward it, feeling the cold air wrap around her skin. She reached for the handle. The door spoke. Not with words, but with memories. Theo smiling in the sunlight. Iris crying as she confessed. Ren sketching her life without knowing why. And Kai, looking at her like he had finally lost something real. The door pulsed. It wanted her to choose. Behind her, the sound of footsteps echoed. Layla turned, and there stood Ellen, but she wasn't wearing her school uniform. She wore silver gray, just like the keeper. Ellen, Layla said, voice shaky. You're one of them? Ellen stepped forward, her eyes tired. Not always. I was like you once.
Hurt.
Reborn. Angry. But I made a different choice. She looked at the unmarked door. That door will show you who you really are if you're ready. Layla hesitated. Ellen's voice dropped. But if you go through, you might not come back the same. Layla looked at the door, at her own hand on the handle. Then she whispered, maybe I'm not supposed to come back the same. Layla took a deep breath and turned the handle. The unmarked door opened slowly, without a sound. Light poured out. Not cold like the hallway. Not warm either. Just weightless. Like air that had never been breathed. She stepped through. And instantly, everything changed. She was standing in a place that looked like nowhere and everywhere at once. A field of mirrors. A sky of turning pages. And voices, dozens of them, whispering words she didn't understand. Then she saw her. Herself. But not the version she knew. This Layla was in black. Alone. Surrounded by broken mirrors and silence. And she was crying. The crying Layla looked up when she saw her. Her voice was weak. You made it farther than I did. Layla stepped closer. Who are you? I'm what you could have become, the other Layla said. The version that lost everything. That gave in to hate. That forgot what she was fighting for. Layla felt her stomach twist. Why are you here? The other Layla smiled sadly. Because this place shows you every version of yourself. Every ending that could be yours. She pointed to the sky above, where dozens of stories floated like stars. One where she forgave. One where she stayed silent. One where she destroyed everyone, even herself. Layla turned away from the crying version of herself. She looked around at the endless field of mirrors. In each one, she saw a different future. Kai reaching for her. Theo holding her hand. Iris walking away. Ren alone at a desk. Ellen. Gone. Then the keeper's voice echoed from the light above. You don't get to pick the people in your life, but you do get to choose what kind of person you'll be in theirs. Layla closed her eyes, and when she opened them, she finally knew. This was never about revenge. It was about who she would become after the pain. Her hand reached toward one of the mirrors, one still unbroken. And slowly, she stepped through. Layla stepped through the unbroken mirror and the world shifted. She was no longer in the hallway or the mirror field, or even her own home. She stood in a garden she'd never seen before. Yet it felt familiar. The sky above was glowing orange, as if frozen at sunset. The air smelled like rain and old memories. In the middle of the garden stood a single bench, and sitting on it was Kai. But this wasn't the Kai she knew. This one looked older, quieter, wiser, and sad. He looked up at her and smiled faintly. "So, you made it here too." Layla walked over, her heart unsure. "Where are we?" she asked. Kai looked around. "Somewhere in between. A place the mirror chose for you. And for me." Layla sat beside him, not too close. "I hurt you," he said quietly. "In ways I didn't understand until it was too late." She nodded. "And I let it happen. In ways I wish I could take back." There was silence between them, but it wasn't angry. It was the kind of silence that understood loss. "I don't expect forgiveness," Kai said, "but I hope in one version of our lives, we were friends." Just that. Layla looked at the sky. "Maybe we were," she whispered. "Maybe we still can be. But not in this one." Kai nodded, not broken, just accepting. The sky began to shift, turning soft gold. Layla stood from the bench. The garden began to fade. Kai remained, sitting, peaceful. She turned back one last time. "I'm letting go," she said. "Good," Kai replied. "That's how you move forward." And then the garden vanished. Layla blinked, and she was back. Back in her room. Back in her time. The mirror was whole again. The door was gone. And in her hand, she held something new. A blank page. With only one line at the top. "Write your next chapter." Layla stared at the blank page in her hand. It felt warm. Light. Like it was waiting for her, not the broken version of her past, but the real her. The one she had fought to become. She placed it gently inside her notebook, above all the old plans for revenge. Above the lists. The strategies. The names she once circled in red. And she wrote, slowly, "This time I choose peace for myself first." She closed the book and stood up. There was no sound. No flash of light. But inside, something shifted. Something quiet and strong. The next day, Layla found Theo waiting near the school gates. He looked nervous. More nervous than usual. "Hey," he said. "Can we talk?" She nodded. They walked quietly to the side garden where the cherry trees had just begun to bloom. Theo stopped. "I remembered more." Layla looked at him carefully. "In the other life," Theo said, "I saw you fall, and I couldn't save you. But this time, I want to be the person who stands by you, no matter how many lives it takes." He held out his hand. Layla looked at it for a long moment. Then she smiled and took it, not because she needed saving, but because she finally knew what kind of love she deserved. As Layla walked into the school building hand in hand with Theo, she passed Iris. Iris gave her a nod. Not sad. Not jealous. Just proud. And near the corner of the hallway, she spotted Ellen, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, watching. Ellen gave her the tiniest of smiles. Like a quiet goodbye. Layla smiled back. Not every story needed revenge. Some just needed to be rewritten with better choices. She was finally free to live her new chapter. But behind her, someone else opened a mirror and whispered, "Now, it's my turn." The voice behind the mirror wasn't Leela's. It was sharper, cooler. The figure stepped through the glass like stepping through smoke, not light. Her face was familiar, but not quite. She wore Leela's features, but her eyes were different. No kindness. No warmth. Just fire. This Layla didn't forgive. She didn't walk away. She destroyed. She walked the same school hallways, but no one saw her. Not yet. Because this wasn't her timeline. Not yet. She watched Theo and the real Layla laughing together in the courtyard. She watched Iris chatting with Ren like the past was truly behind them. She smiled. A mirror flickered behind her. Inside it, scenes danced, versions of the world where she won. Where she ruled. Where she didn't lose everything. This new Layla, the shadow Layla, wasn't here to rewrite her story. She was here to replace it. Back in her classroom, the real Layla suddenly dropped her pen. It rolled off her desk and stopped, standing upright, perfectly still. Strange. She bent to pick it up, and in the reflection of the floor tile, she saw something impossible. Her own face staring back. But the expression wasn't hers. It smirked. Just slightly. Layla stood quickly, her heart pounding. The mirror in the back of the class flickered once, barely noticeable. But she noticed. The keeper's warning rang in her mind. The cycle is never broken. Only past. And now she realized something terrible. Her story might be done. But someone else's was just beginning. That night, Layla stood in front of her bedroom mirror. She stared at her reflection, searching for signs of the other version of her, the shadow self she felt watching. "Who are you?" she whispered. And for a moment, her reflection blinked before she did. But Layla didn't step back. She placed her hand on the glass and said clearly, "You're not me. Not anymore. This story is mine, and I'm writing the ending." The mirror began to ripple like a drop of water had touched it. And then the shadow Layla inside vanished. Just like that. The crack sealed. The reflection returned. And peace, real, gentle peace, settled in the room. A week later, Layla sat at the cafe with Theo, Iris, and Ren. They laughed. They planned a trip. They dreamed out loud. Kai passed by once, alone, but nodded politely. She nodded back. No pain. No fire. Just quiet understanding. Ellen moved to another school without a word. But Layla knew. Some people are only meant to walk beside you for a little while. She opened her notebook again on the last page and wrote, "I gave him everything. And when I was reborn, I gave myself everything I had left." She smiled. The story was done. Not because it was perfect, but because she finally chose how it would end.